Hi, I'm Lisa with Nebraska Strong Recovery Project. Nebraska Strong Recovery Project works with individuals that have been impacted by disaster, most recently the flooding that happened in Nebraska in 2019. With Nebraska Strong, what we do is we focus on resilience and recovery after disaster. We work to provide emotional support, assistance with stress management, connections within the community, and really just focusing on health and recovery for the whole person. In the video you're about to watch, we're discussing self-care and what that is. The reason we're starting with self-care is because that's really a foundation for what we do. As we continue on with different videos, we'll be building on this foundation of what self-care is and how you can continue to grow post-disaster and what that might look like. So whether you're watching this in 2019, 2020, or down the road after a disaster has hit that we don't even know about yet, I hope that the information that we start presenting today and through other videos is beneficial to you. Good morning and welcome to Coffee Breaks with Nebraska Strong Recovery Project. My name is Lisa and this lovely lady is my good friend and colleague Sherry.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm really excited about being part of this episode today on self-care. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm so glad you could make it. What has your experience with self-care been?
Well, self-care is very new to me, and to be honest with you, I heard about it for the first time about a year ago. And prior to that, I came from a corporate world where everything is work hard, work a lot. The harder you work, the luckier you get. The thing that kept me from understanding self-care was the fact it was a generational type thing. I came from a generation that you were raised with, if you feel sad or stressed or whatever, just, suck it up, buttercup, because this is life and you need to just go forward. So when I heard about self-care, it took me a while to really adjust to it because it was very, very foreign to me. And I'm still learning about it. But it's a whole new term and thought process for me.
With talking about being in the corporate world and kind of your experiences there, did you get burnt out? Did you feel like your job got more of you than maybe you wanted it to at times?
I came from again, it's almost a generational thing too, where people spent 30 years in a job. You didn't go every 2 years, So it was something that you learned to take it, that type of thing. And the people that succeeded were the people that could take it the best. And yes, I think you did get burned out, and I think that's where a lot of problems came, that you just didn't really know what to do with it, that type of thing. And it for me, I would say I was probably burned out several times, but didn't recognize it, didn't deal with it, and but by the grace of God, I made it through all of it.
You bring up a really interesting point in when you said those who could take it best were able to succeed. Because I'm wondering what skills those individuals that could take it best, had that helped them in regards to taking that. Because self-care really can get a pretty bad rap, and like you were saying, kind of come off as, oh, well, I'm gonna be lazy today. I'm not gonna take on my responsibilities, things like that, because it gets marketed in so many different ways.
Saying being lazy is a good thing, because I think that being lazy has a negative connotation, and before I learned about self-care, I really felt that way. I really felt like, oh, I'm slacking, if I'm laying around today, or if I'm just taking a bubble bath instead of dealing, that I'm being lazy. And again, that was a generational thing, I believe. But to be able, I think real self-care is be able to take that nap or to take that bubble bath and to be able to take it in for what it is and not entertain any negative thoughts at all, like this is a lazy thing to do. No, you know what? I'm refreshing myself. I'm just taking some time for me.
Yeah. Well, and that's really what it is. So if you look at the term self-care, it seems pretty self-explanatory. Coming up with a definition that doesn't use self or care in it is actually very, very difficult. But it originated with the health field. So doctors wanted people to do things, preventative care, not just go see the doctor when life gets crazy. And yearly physicals, who puts those off? Most of us. It's a real thing. So it's doing the things that are sometimes very small and seem insignificant to care for you as an individual being. In some of the research that I was looking at, one of the things that was said was self-care is treating yourself like a 6-year-old. It's the idea of looking at, okay, well, what is going to be good for me in the long term? So there are times when maybe, oh man, I really want to go hang out, I want to do this, really want to go buy that because it's super awesome, but adult me has to step in and like, what's the budget say? What time do we have to work tomorrow? Those things where you kind of override.
Well, and I think too, again, I bounce all this through my generational eyes because maybe somebody who's watching this will kind of relate to the attitude like, the more you give, the more you get. The more you put into this, the more you're going to get out of this, that type of thing. And they really don't look at it in the connotation that for yourself, the more you put into your own care, the more you're going to get out of it. And that's what I've been learning. I have a friend that I visited with recently, and I asked him, I said, what do you do for self-care? And he explained to me what he did. And I tried to incorporate some things that fit me, but they went along with the same kind of regimen that he had. And it's been very helpful. But I'm learning that if I do invest more in myself, put more in myself, I actually have more than to give out then. And that's kind of what I think we all want to do.
So with that, it doesn't have to be every day is the exact same thing. Some days you might need to go take a nap. Some days you might need to make a difficult phone call. And sometimes you might need to get out of the house and go have a little bit of fun because life's been go, 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 work, 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 The other really neat thing about self-care is that it's not just mental health. It's not just any one thing. So really we look at the full aspect of the person. So you've got, physical health, eating well, getting sleep. Sleep is so good. It's very important. Exercise, emotional health, psychological health, spiritual health. Acknowledging that there's part of you that wants to connect with something bigger than you. And so it's very multifaceted. As we're wrapping up, some things that I think self-care gets a really bad rap for. So I just wanted to touch on the fact that it's not just self-indulgence. So, like I said, checking in with myself. Yes, I want to get this, but what does the budget say? Sometimes you splurge on stuff. That can be a good thing, but it's not the excuse to splurge all the time, every time, right? It's not an excuse to be awful and uncaring to other people. Oh, well, I can't help you. I have to work on my self-care. It can be used as an excuse, and we need to be aware of that. It's also not a fix-all. So self-care doesn't mean that if you take some time, you take some naps, all of a sudden you're going to be Superwoman, able to do everything, and in my superhero persona, I can, save the world from everything that there is. But it's just working with what you've got and giving yourself a lot of self-compassion. Sherry, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. I really had a great time. Thank you.
It's been good. Well, take care of yourself. Have a great rest of your day. Know that you don't have to be perfect, and it's a process. And we will see you next time on Coffee Breaks with Nebraska Strong Recovery Project. So just to recap a couple things about self-care. Life is busy. Work is busy. And when you add in something like a disaster, and now you're adding in to, work, kids, family, making sure the bills get paid, and you're looking at What can I salvage? How do I rebuild? How do I understand my insurance going forward? We like to focus on resiliency. That's one of our big things with Nebraska Strong. You need to allow yourself some time to rest and to recuperate. That way you are able to bounce back.